this week's episode of Ushio and Tora. Tora, Ushio, and his father battle against a group of radical demon-exterminating monks, and Ushio finally decides to go on a long journey to learn the mysterious truth about his mother. Shigure Outsuki is one of the greatest anime fathers that I've ever seen. He's really funny. He also just happens to be a badass demon-exterminating monk. This week's episode was really entertaining, and what I think I loved most about it is that it broke free from the mold of fighting the monster of the week. This week's episode finally started to give us a little more backstory about what's really going on in the world of Ushio and Tora, and we got to learn a lot more about Ushio's dad, Shigure, who apparently works for this super secret sect known as the Kohamai sect. This group of demon exterminators who go around Japan beating the crap out of demons and making sure that they don't leave Japan. And they're also looking out for this big post-apocalyptic demon which is known as the Hakumen no Mono, which I'm guessing is probably going to end up being like the big bad or the final villain of the series. And I have a feeling it's also going to have a strong connection to Ushio's mother. And that brings us to what is arguably the most important thing about this episode, is that Ushio and Shigure sit down and they finally decide to talk about his mom, and he starts to learn some more information about her. By learning some information about her, he's given a lot of cryptic information Obi-Wan style and sent on this big journey where apparently he's actually going to find his mother. I cannot wait to see where this is going and how this is going to tie into this whole Hakumen no Mono thing, if it's not connected at all. I just want to see what this journey is going to be all about, because this is going to be an excuse to see a lot of new characters, new landscapes, and really break the mold from the first couple of episodes of the series. But this week's episode also just happened to have some amazingly badass action in it, because now that Shigure knows that Tora exists, and so does the Kohamai sect, they order him to exterminate him, but he just can't do it, because just like everyone else, he can see the goodness in Tora. He can see the goofy nature of him, and the fact that he actually seems to have something of a decent relationship with his son Ushio. They look like they're friends, although he still claims that he's just going to eat all of them, but still it's obvious that they're best buddies at this point. Initially, the battle between Shigure and Tora is really freaking awesome. Just the fact that they're both going at each other, hand-to-hand combat, he's using his staff and his weird magical abilities, Tora's just slashing away and using his lightning. This all set in this nighttime, rainy setting makes this one of the most atmospheric fights of the series, and definitely one of my favorite battles, especially when the monks suddenly appear like a group of ninja, and they decide they're gonna fight against Shigure, and they use a lot of cool techniques too. They use this crescent moon ceiling technique, which looks like something Sailor Moon would use, but honestly it's really effective. It actually like pins Shigure down, but then freaking Tora gets all pissed off fighting against these monks, completely destroying all of them, and then they team up, and then they cut away from the battle. I was really hoping that we would get to see both of them just completely wailing on these monks, and obviously they've probably made some new enemies by doing this. I don't know how his father's going to handle the whole beating up the monks that were sent to, you know, capture him and destroy Tora. I don't know if they're going to like that at all, but then again, they have bigger fish to fry with this whole Hakumen no Mono thing. And then of course we get to learn throughout this episode that Ushio's getting ready to go on this long journey to see his mother. I just cannot wait to see that unfold. All I know is this was a very nice, story-centric episode which also had some badass action. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Ushio and Tora? This is still definitely one of my favorite shows this season. It just totally reminds me of watching like an old school anime, and that makes sense because it's based on an old school manga. It's had an OVA adaptation, which I'm currently rewatching. As soon as like I finish a modern episode, I go back and I check out the classic one, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I don't want to be spoiled by anything that's going to happen in this anime, because I have not read the manga yet. What I will say is I'm really liking this adaptation a lot. It's got a lot of energy behind it. The voice acting is also just really fantastic, especially from Shigure this week. Guy is freaking hilarious. There are so many moments this week where you just want to keel over laughing, and then all of a sudden serious music kicks in and he just goes into this like badass demon exterminating monk mode. It's really, really cool. It can be a little jarring at first, but honestly I do like the mixture of humor and action in this series. Usually in Ushio and Tora, Tora tends to steal the show with his incredible facial expressions and his just over-the-top nature, but Shigure really made this episode. He was honestly one of the main reasons to check it out. The action scenes he had with Tora and them teaming up at the end was really cool, and just the entire atmosphere of the entire episode was a little heavier than what we've seen from the rest of the series, but some sometimes we need episodes like this. I also like that they introduced the Kohamai sect, because now we're going to have some new villains. They introduced these 4 mysterious characters who are apparently people they've been training to actually use the Beast Spear. I guarantee Ushio's going to run into these guys and probably have some amazing battles, and they're probably going to have their own special weaponized Buddha monk abilities. But we're just going to have to wait and see what those are going to be. But this week's episode was pretty freaking great. It was a really nice episode that pumped the brakes, but is also getting us ready for a massive journey in the first, major arc of the series. So, I like this one a lot. So, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. It was a little slow in some parts. Otherwise, this was a wholly entertaining episode of an infinitely ridiculously entertaining anime series. It's Ushio and Tora, and you guys should definitely check it out. So I really love this episode a lot, but I want to hear from you guys. Did you watch this week's episode of Ushio and Tora? What did you think about Ushio and Tora getting ready to go on their big journey? What is the deal with Ushio's mother? And are we going to see the Kohamai sect again very soon, or are they saving them for later? And what do you want to see from the rest of Ushio and Tora? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. That way you can see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. You can also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.